Hey, we went over Miggy a week ago and 3,000. What about 2,000, which Dusty Baker is just one win away from? And this is the ultimate managerial list, star-studded with Hall of Famers, besides Dusty, who's still managing, and Bruce Bochy, who's just not eligible yet, but I think he's in good shape at 2003 and 3 World Series titles. Scott Braun, Chris Young, Bo Porter. But Bo, Dusty's one win away from 2,000. He's done it all. He's seen it all. He's got the storied playing career as well. And this is just another milestone to add to the list. He only has one thing he's missing, and he'll be the first to tell you. Would love a World Series title, but it's not going to make or break his life either.
No. I mean, you talk to Dusty Baker, it's not going to make or break his life. And to me, Dusty didn't even need Houston to be a Hall of Famer. But if you wanted to put an exclamation mark with his career, I think going back to Houston he was able to do that. But when you look at just his body of work, it's unbelievable. From his playing career, 19 years in the big leagues, to 2,000 wins, to just his ability to manage so many different ball clubs. Dusty Baker's a career 278 hitter, 242 home runs, played an unbelievable left field. And talk about a 5'2" player, can run, can throw, can steal bases, hit for power, hit for average. He had an amazing career, CY.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of these numbers for the first time. I understood how amazing of a player he was, but when you vocalize it like you did, it even puts more emphasis on the caliber of a baseball mind that he was for the game. Bo, for me, was always my favorite guy to play against. And any player who played with him, they talk about how he just always has your back. He's the ultimate player's manager. So for him to go from managing back in the days, and the game has changed so much, Scott, over the last 20 years or so. It's so impressive to see Dusty be able to come back with the Astros. And no manager could have come back with the Astros after what they were going through at the time. Dusty was the perfect guy for the job, and it continues to show why he's one of the best out there.
And that's why we talk about cause and effect and Dusty we trust. When you look at the organizations that Dusty Baker has taken over, just look at these numbers here. Take over the San Francisco Giants. The previous year, they were 72-90. Dusty's first year, 103-59. He take over the Cubs, 67-95. Dusty comes in, 88-74. Take over the Nationals, underachieving ball club, 83-79. Dusty comes in, they win 95 games, 95-67. And probably his best takeover was the Houston Astros. Coming in, sign-stealing scandal. They bring in a veteran, common voice. We were talking about Showalter and how important it was for the Mets to get the right guy in the clubhouse. Dusty Baker, in my opinion, was the only person that the Houston Astros could have hired to come in and weather the storm that he was able to and get them. Remember, they were in the American League Championship Series. The following year, he gets them to the World Series. Let's see what happens.
Is there a manager war yet? Have we started looking at manager war at this point? I mean, what you just put together right there would say Dusty's worth about 10 games.
Well, don't we just go off the classic wins and losses? See, wins still matter for managers, maybe not for starting pitchers, but it makes sense. And I'll say this. I mean, I'm thinking about what you're saying, especially coming off the scandal and taking over this ball club, talented ball club. But the way that he handled it with the media, because media was ready to pounce. And they did. And he handled it perfectly. And I'll say this. For someone who's in his 70s, and I spent a lot of time around him last year, both calling games and then also in the World Series, the meetings with him, he is still you gravitate towards him, I'd say more so than almost anyone on a baseball field. Basically what I'm saying is Dusty in his 70s is still usually the coolest guy on the field, which is not easy to do. CY talks about relating to the younger player, the next generation. He can do that. He covers all of that, and he sets the tone for the veteran skippers and gives them further meaning, right? We had a World Series last year with 2 of the older managers in Major League Baseball. There is a place for managers of his ilk and of his resume. It's not always just who's the youngest, hottest guy to retire just now. That's right, a big name. Like Dusty and Brian Snitker and guys like that really made a statement last year and opened the door probably for someone even like Buck Showalter to take over again in New York.
Yes, and when you look at Dusty's resume, one thing we can't leave out is look at Dusty Baker's record against notable managers. And it's impressive. When you start to think about Dusty Baker against Tony La Russa, .512 winning percentage. Against Bruce Bochy, 571 winning percentage. Against Jim Leland, 560 winning percentage. And against Sweet Lou Piniella, 532. He has done it as a player, as a manager, and he's done it against the best managers that our game has to offer.
So it could happen tonight. Mariners taking on the Astros. He's at 1,999. I'm totally with you. It doesn't matter anymore. He is a Hall of Famer.
First ballot.
Sure. First ballot as a manager overall, too. Because
Yes.
I like combining the body of work. I mean, he had a pretty strong playing career.
7 decades in the game.
Yes.
Oh.
He is a Hall of Fame human being in baseball.